my dad was a landlord and he was doing 4-bedroom HMOs and he built up a little portfolio. Commercial valuations on property is insane. The fastest way to become a property millionaire. We don't want to have debts to the bank.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes no sense. The more debt you have, the more properties you buy, the more properties you own, they all go up in value.
Exactly that.
Don't worry about money. The money will come. If your reputation is good, your business model is good, the money will come. So I spent all my 20s, 30s building up my portfolio of properties. By the time I got to 49, I was like looking at retiring, maybe move abroad somewhere, like Thailand or India or whatever.
Nice.
Go and live like a king. So I was known for lease options. And now I think I've got about £1 million worth of lease options.
Welcome back to another episode, guys. I just want to introduce Billy Kooner, one of my longest standing friends within the academy and an absolute boss when it comes to service accommodation, management and property purchasing. So yeah, thank you for coming.
And anything else under the property banner.
All right. Humble as well. He's super humble. So welcome, Billy.
Thank you.
I think it would be a great start if you could tell everybody what you do, how you got there. And where you started. Like, obviously, you've got a bit of a different background to the rest of us, haven't you?
Yeah, so my dad was a landlord. He had his first rental property in 1978. There was no such thing as commercial well, there was commercial loans, but there was no such thing as a buy-to-let mortgage back then. And so he was basically just getting a commercial loan from Barclays Bank. And he was doing 4-bedroom HMOs for university students, Wolverhampton Polytechnic at the time. And he built up a little portfolio.
Solely HMOs?
Solely HMOs.
Nice.
When HMOs probably wasn't even
a thing. That's what I was going to say. Was it actually a thing back then?
Yeah.
Was it a classification? Or?
So we had 3 bedrooms upstairs. You'd have 2 lounges downstairs.
Yeah.
The front lounge would then be bedroom number 4.
Yeah.
Then you've got the communal lounge and then the kitchen and a bathroom.
Yeah.
So very simple. So I grew up around that. I watched him interact with the students, deal with all the day-to-day issues of being a landlord.
Yeah.
Once they left, I would go with my dad to clear out all the rubbish, repaint if it needs repainting, cut the grass in the summer. So all this kind of stuff. And then when I got to about 12, 13, I was his interpreter. So I would go to the bank with him. I would go to the solicitors with him. I'd go to the accountants with him. So all that kind of stuff. So I grew up. You couldn't have more of a property education than
being in it.
Being in it like that. So then property was always a passion. When the careers advisor came around when I was about 15, everyone was like, "Oh, I'm going to be a policeman. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm like, "Oh, I'll be a property developer."
I wanted to be a mechanic.
You look like one.
Yeah, but I was going to have a business. I was going to turn it into an all-female run modifications garage.
Yeah.
So I've always been business-minded.
This is I think some people just start very early with that mindset. Yeah. So I knew at 15, 16, like I never wanted to work for anyone.
Yeah.
I also knew that back then, the only way to buy property was to have that deposit to buy property. And the only way to have a deposit to buy property is by being self-employed.
Right.
You're not going to save up them kind of deposits with a job. And I was qualified to do nothing.
I thought everything was cheap back then. You're talking about ye olden days, aren't you?
No.
One of the bungalow I paid 425,000 for as a wreck.
Yeah.
Right. That was $6,000 brand new with a half an acre plot.
Yeah.
It's madness.
So
sort of that era.
not going that fucking far back. But so when I first started, 1990s, I started.
Yeah.
So in 1990s, an average 3-bedroom house in Wolverhampton was about 35 grand, something like that. So even for that, you got to put down a deposit.
Yeah, of course.
25%. And then the stamp duty. Well, no, there wasn't stamp duty then.
Was it even 25% on the deposits back then?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah, it was like 20 or 25.
20, right.
I can't remember now. It might have been even as low as 15.
Ye olden days, I get
that's
it.
like fucking 30 years ago. So yeah, but even to do that, you're not going to do that by having a job in McDonald's.
No.
Right? So you've got to be self-employed. And so I looked around, what's all my family doing? All my family are in business. They've either got restaurants or off licenses or convenience stores or chip shops. So I thought, right, I'm going to do that. So we got our first couple of businesses, and then we got a chip shop, and then that's where we started generating the cash.
You personally had a chip shop?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you?
We had two.
Still got it?
The one my ex-wife had
Right.
in the divorce. So that brings in I think she gets about 12,000 pound per annum rent, and that's unencumbered. There's no loan on that. The other one we sold, that was just a leasehold small shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hated chip shops.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely hated it.
The grease
But,
in the
you know,
hair.
I drove taxis for 4 years.
Did
'Cause
you?
that was a good cash business. Made a lot of money from that.
No, I considered that at one point.
Yeah. And then later on, I got my HGV license. I
Did
drove,
you?
Yeah, I drove trucks for 5 years. But again,
I did not know that, Billy.
yeah.
Everyone always talks about the fact that I drove trucks.
Yeah, because you're an HGV
Yeah,
driver.
class one.
Yeah, same, class one.
Are you?
Yeah, so I worked for DPD, Yodel, Hermes.
I was Hermes.
Yeah. So yeah, I've done all that stuff because that generates income.
Yeah.
You need cash flow. To do property, you've got to have cash flow. So then, my kids grew up and my eldest daughter wanted to get into property. Have I missed a chunk of my history here?
You've had some kids
Yeah.
at some point.
No, I think I've skipped a whole part of my journey. I might have to edit this little bit out.
No, it's fine.
So I spent all my 20s, 30s building up my portfolio of properties. By the time I got to 49, I was like looking at retiring. I was like going to semi-retirement, maybe move abroad somewhere, like Thailand or India or, whatever.
Nice.
Go and live like a king.
Go live like a king in
But,
Dubai.
with buy-to-let properties, my income wasn't massive.
Right.
So I was probably making, say, 4 or 5 grand a month from my buy-to-lets. And you can have a nice lifestyle on that.
Yeah.
It's not Lamborghini money.
No.
But, you never have to work again, right? So that was the plan. Then my daughter wanted to get into property. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Turn of events.
Did you not think she would?
No.
You didn't get that impression?
No, didn't get that impression of her at all. She was a bit too laid back. She was like, but she was the kind of person who could never hold down a job. She hated working for other people.
Yeah.
And then it was just a random throwaway comment she made. Something along the lines of her mum's thinking of selling one of the properties, and she turned around and said to her mum, "You can't sell that property. That's your pension."
Yeah.
And I looked and I thought, well, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you. And then so we got chatting, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I've got an interest in property. I'd like to learn more about it. I'm sick and tired of being broke, doing waitressing and all that kind of stuff." So I thought, okay. So at that time, I was looking at Samuel Leeds videos and this other education stuff just because I was always interested in property. So I'm always watching and learning. So then we thought, well, why don't we join the academy? I'll do the academy side of it and the networking. You do the education and you do all the legwork. I'll fund you. Well, obviously I'll pay for the academy and I'll get you like 3 rent-to-rents, get you kind of started.
Right.
And then, you build a business from there. And that's how it all started. And then I loved it so much, I've stayed on the academy.
Yeah.
So this is my 3rd year there. So I still do all the networking events.
So is Simeon not on the academy anymore?
She was.
The
but
first
yeah,
year?
yeah. She finished.
Right.
But she stayed very much in the background.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, joining the academy, being in that environment is just crazy.
Yeah.
It keeps you motivated for sure.
It does.
So, and if you ever have a problem, you can turn to the mentors for advice.
Yeah.
And I think in the 3 years I've been there, 2.5 years I've been there, I think I've had 1 or 2 mentoring calls.
Really?
How many have you had?
Not that many. Again, not that many. But to be honest, I befriended one of them straight off the bat. So he wasn't a mentor when I started. Simon,
yes.
He wasn't a mentor. He was just one of me.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize when he became a mentor, I said, "Does that mean you're a millionaire?" And he just looked at me and went, like winked at me, and I was like, okay, I hear you.
Simon Olsen, very, very knowledgeable guy. He really knows his stuff.
I rang him personally on his mobile. I rang him maybe every day for about 2 weeks, asking him for the commercial calculation. So if I make you this a 6-7 bed, whatever. We went through it every day, and he was like, "Narelle," I was like, "I know, mate. I just want to double check."
Commercial valuations on property is insane.
I know. Well, that's what I went
It's
for.
the fastest way to become a property millionaire.
Yeah.
The fastest way.
That is exactly what I did.
So
I didn't realize though, I wasn't aiming for Property Millionaire. It just sort of happened because I was doing that, but I was just going for the bigger numbers, so I was getting some money out in the back.
yeah,
So people talk about all money out deals all the time, and for me, all money out isn't quite enough. I want more than that coming
Yeah.
up. Do you know what I mean? Which meant that commercial conversions were the only way
yeah, commercial
to do that.
conversion is the only way to do that. And then while I was on the academy, the very first training program I did was the lease option training,
Yes.
and that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, what
Good.
the fuck? So I went away and I studied on it more.
Yeah.
And I went out and got myself 2 or 3 lease options around Wolverhampton.
Banging. How did you get them so easily?
Again, just knowing how to exercise it. So I was doing a lot of viewings looking for BRRs, and I was coming across landlords who were struggling to sell them.
Yeah.
And they couldn't sell them below a certain price. So to an investor, it made no sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you couldn't buy it at the price you want it to make a profit.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to sell any lower because he owes the bank
X amount.
X amount of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
So perfect lease option scenario.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So the first one, I think he had £5,000 equity in the property. So I was like, okay, I'll give you the $5,000 and I'll do it as a lease option. I'll buy it in 7 years' time. He was happy with that.
Yeah,
He was
sounds good.
desperate for $5,000.
Yeah.
So we gave him $5,000, did the lease option, and then that was my first one. That one I gave to Simon.
Did you?
So she moved into that one.
Okay.
So she was living in a rented. She was living in a HMO room. She was renting a room, which was very embarrassing for the family at the time because the family was saying, like, you know, her granddad's a property landlord, her dad's a landlord, her uncle's a landlord.
Really?
What is she doing living in a rented accommodation? But the reason she was there is because she didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if you're not going to listen, get the fuck out. I'm not paying you, you know, to live so you can jolly up your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, life is about struggles and working hard and,
Yeah.
you know, becoming successful. So she went through a phase of rebellion. So she got kicked out. So when we started doing the property things together, I gave her that lease option.
Yeah.
So she moved in. We rented out the spare room. I think the mortgage is about £300. Her bills are about £300. She gets $550 for that one room.
yeah.
So she literally lives there for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that was the first one. And then the second one was similar kind of story. The third one was the landlord that we got the first one from.
Yeah.
He had another flat
Right.
that he'd bought in 2005, 2006, when the property prices were really high,
Yeah.
brand new developments. And after the crash, they just never recovered.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Flats in particular, yeah.
Flats, yeah. So all my lease options are flats. I've got one 6-bedroom HMO.
Right.
That was from a developer, and he just didn't want anything to do with that property. It was just too much headache for him.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I'll take it on. I'll give you X amount per month. So I did a rent to rent on it.
Yeah.
And then added a lease option onto it as well.
Perfect.
And then,
Because I always worry with lease options that you're going to lose them at the point that you get the other solicitor. There's 2 solicitors involved in a lease option, right?
yeah,
So the second that you pitch it to them and they accept, like, yeah, that's great. The second they've got their own solicitor and that solicitor saying, why are you doing this? Do you know what I mean? I always think you'll lose them at that point because the solicitor's working on their behalf and vice versa.
okay. So what I do, I'll kind of float the idea,
Yeah.
but I don't pitch it to them.
Okay.
So I let them go away, get legal advice,
Okay.
and I will recommend a lawyer,
Yes. Got to do that.
right? And that lawyer is a lease option specialist.
Yeah.
So he will explain how it all works, answer all the questions, and he does the selling for you.
Yes.
Now, that solicitor will say, for example, have 2 solicitors working in his office.
Yeah.
One solicitor will represent me, the other solicitor will represent.
How can you do the dual representation from the same?
You can within the same company as long as it's 2 different solicitors.
Can you?
Yeah.
So I couldn't even buy the Devon property I was buying. My own solicitor came to me and he said, look, we've been working with the seller. It just happened to be the same firm. They wouldn't work. They wouldn't do it. It was different guys within the company.
Yeah.
And they caught on to the fact that they were both
Conflict of interest.
They called it
No, I think so.
and they sacked me off because I was the newer client.
I don't know how the solicitors get around it, but the solicitor that I work with is the one that Samuel Leeds recommends.
Sam Hawkins.
Sam Hawkins.
So I use them a lot for
Yeah.
PGs and ILAs and stuff.
So he's the guy to speak to about doing the lease options. and they will represent both sides. And that makes the process obviously so much easier. You're welcome.
Will you say that? So I used them on a purchase once.
Yeah.
Super slow.
Super slow. Yeah, I think they take about 8 weeks to do a lease option, which is fairly slow.
Is it? Because I don't know the speed of but a purchase to take 4+ months, that's slow.
Yeah.
Right?
Find a better solicitor for, because you'll find different solicitors are good for different things.
Yeah. Because I know another good lease option solicitor, which is MS Law.
Yeah.
They're up north. So I would always recommend MS Law to them and then use... Well, no, I would probably take MS Law and let them use them.
Well, have you not spoken to MS Law about representing both sides?
No.
Should ask
But
them.
also I haven't got any lease options. I was trying for it for a long time. That was what I was going for. And then it just never sort of paid off. And I thought, well, screw it. I'm going to focus on what I am good at, which is commercial.
So going back to the lease options, because I got these 3-4 lease options very quickly.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people in the academy can do that.
No.
So I got the title, Lease Option King.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So...
Oh, that was a way back when, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's literally in the first 6 months of the academy. So I was known for lease options. And now I think I've got about £1 million worth of lease options.
Is it? How many have you got now total?
We've got 5.
5. That's really good.
So it's the HMO is a big one. I think that's like 300,000. And then we've just done a 4-bedroom house in Wolverhampton, which is about 200,000.
Tell you what then, because you keep asking me for commercial deals. Get me a lease option, a good one, and I'll get you a commercial conversion, and I'll help you with it.
Okay, all right.
You know what you do though with the commercials now, don't you?
Yeah, so I've not done a commercial to residential. No, I haven't done a commercial to residential.
I can help you. That's what I mean. We can trade skills. That's fine.
Yeah, like the very first one I did, very first property, 1996 was. It was a 3-story Victorian terrace townhouse.
Yeah.
And we converted that into 4 flats.
Okay.
So that was my very first project.
Yeah. Title splitting?
No.
You left it as freehold?
Just left it as it is, freehold. And just rented them out as ASTs.
Yeah.
Because even back then, that was the only strategy going, ASTs.
Yeah, of course.
Now I wouldn't touch an AST. With
no, me. Everybody says to me, oh, did you just rent them out? And I'm like, well, yeah, but not in the way you're thinking I do it.
Yeah.
It's not just one family.
You've got to go with the super rent strategies, HMOs or serviced accommodation.
Just because of the interest rates.
Even stuff like supported living.
Yep.
Emergency housing.
Emergency housing is what I'm going for now, actually, with a couple of mine.
Yeah, emergency housing is really good.
It's good money, and you're actually giving back to the community. We've got a banging one, so it's an absolutely beautiful house. It's like £1 million house anywhere else, but it's in the Bronx. It's perfect for emergency accommodation, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's in the wrong area. We're not going to be able to sell it for what it's worth. Plus, I don't sell anything. Yeah. I don't like the idea of paying capital gains. I'd rather pay corporation tax.
Yeah. And with corporation tax, there's ways to get around that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't get around capital gains.
Nah, not with, yeah. So this is it. Don't sell. The whole idea is to refinance property. Yeah. And I was saying this in the early 2000s to my family members, like, you should be paying interest only. And you should be refinancing when the property value goes up. They thought I was absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah.
They're like, you're stupid. We want to pay it off. We don't want to have debts to the bank.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes no sense. The more debt you have, the more properties you buy, the more properties you own, they all go up in value.
Exactly that.
You're making that much more rental income and you're getting all that capital appreciation, but you've only got one house which is paid off.
Yeah.
And I've got 5.
Yeah.
So I've got 5 houses going up in value and I got 5 lots of rent paying for that.
Yeah.
And I got 5 lots of net profit.
Yeah.
You've got 1.
Yeah. I always say this to people. So even with the investing side, because people want to know how I get investors to give me their money, right? One of the, if I need 100 grand, I don't ask one person for 100 grand. I'll ask 4 people for 25.
Yeah.
You don't it's a similar thing. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. But I totally agree with if I had 100 grand in the bank and I'm just starting out in the Simon Leeds Academy, there's no way I would put that into one deal. I would buy at least 3 houses with that 100 grand, at least.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the deposit for 3 cheap houses. Do the refurbs, light refurbs, just modernisation, whatever.
And then to add into your power team is to have a good broker who can get you good bridging finance.
Amen to
so
that.
you either raise finance from investors, or you have a good bridging finance company. And even Samuel Leeds will lend you up to 100,000 max.
Yeah, so I need to ask
80%.
Samuel this actually, but am I right in saying that he does it for people buying sort of like their first, second property?
Yeah,
It's not sort of for people, like, we're not allowed it, are we?
I think we'd be allowed it. We just There's a cap.
There's a, I know
So
it's
like 100,000 would be the
100,
max that they lend you.
Yeah, but I could have used him for the pub then, because the pub was
Yeah.
only 110.
Yeah. He would have given. I think he gives 80% loan to value.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, but slightly feeds into the over leveraging. Because for predominantly with the commercial conversions in particular, we'll get 65, 70%. Once, because we roll all our fees up at the back end, or we pay them up front, or either way, but we don't pay it monthly.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that cash flow issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd rather roll it up or take it off the initial loan. So it works out at about 65, 70% when it's starting at 75% loan to value.
And this is another thing, having assets to pay for your luxuries.
Yes.
So most people go to work, they pay their taxes, then they go and get a car on finance, and they're working to pay for that car.
Yeah.
But if you've got assets and you then use the profit from the asset to go and buy a nice car, that makes sense, because you're kind of getting it for free.
Yeah, but what I've learned over the last couple of years is all the rich people I know, they don't own anything. They do lease everything.
Yeah.
So like even do you remember Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like very good for me at the beginning. Like he was like, Narelle, don't buy anything, lease everything. He was like getting to crypto, getting to this, getting to that. He was just telling me how to just like be an entrepreneur, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I already had the mindset and everything, but he was just telling me how to do it right and get assets to pay for everything, basically.
This is the thing with the academy as well. Like you're surrounding yourself with people like-minded people.
Yes.
You are surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Not only have you got beginners, but you've got people who are seasoned investors.
Yes. Yeah.
People with portfolio
Yeah,
properties.
but even those seasoned investors want and know they need to learn different strategies.
Yeah.
So they do diversify all the time.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't want to stick to commercial. My next move's land. I've already got it in my head that's the next thing. I want to get some land with planning already in place.
Yeah.
Just for the first one, like a little terrace to 5 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Just start small and then
build up. That's
just
it.
go for it.
Yeah. You start with a couple of houses, then you go bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're building estates.
Well, this is it. I've got a new plan for 2025. I will still carry on with the commercial conversions, but they're going to go into the background for a little bit. There is some permitted development rights I've come across through my amazing architect that I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
To do with farmland and old barns and stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's PD. So my main strategy going forward for 2025 is going to be pulling in some land, but I'm going to get the farmers on board. So I'm actually going to go 50-50 with farmers so that we can help the farmers.
Yeah.
So do you know they're killing the farmers at the
The
minute?
farmers put the land up.
Yes.
You raise the finance, do the development.
Yes. And then we split the profits.
Yeah, split the profits at the end, yeah.
Because we're helping them then. Also, I'm going to teach farmers as I go, the ones that work with me, how to put stuff into trusts.
Yeah.
Because farmers are being screwed left, right and centre right now. So if I can give back to them, I feel like I'm coming from good intentions. Do you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be money to be made there for my part. But
I mean, Labour have done no favours to the farmers.
oh,
have
they've
they?
screwed them. They've absolutely screwed them. And I am shitting my pants about all these GMO foods and that. The half the reason they're trying to kill the farmers is because they're trying to put shit in our food.
Yeah.
They're trying to put stuff in our even our veg, our meats, everything. So yeah, I'm a little bit. I'm all for the farmers. Power to the farmers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No farmers, no food, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So obviously now Simon's on board and everything, and you say she runs everything. What exactly is her role then? What's her strategy?
So she manages our rent-to-rents.
Right.
Her rent-to-rents. She manages other people's rent-to-rents.
Right.
And we operate all these properties as serviced accommodation.
Okay.
Yeah. So Airbnb, emergency housing. We also do rent to supported living.
Okay.
We do a bit of deal selling.
Nice.
So that's all our cash flow business. And then on the side of that, we raise finance, we do joint ventures,
Yeah.
all money out deals.
Yeah.
So the investor gets all his money back. We end up then owning the property 50-50. So we find investors, and we JV with them. We find properties which are below market value, properties that we can add value to.
Yeah.
Once that's done, we refinance, pull the investors' money back out, pay them. We now own that property in a limited company, 50-50.
Got you.
So again, we're following the ethos of creating assets for free.
Yes.
So whether it's lease options,
Yeah.
whether it's controlling property through rent to rent, or buying, refurbish, refinance, rent.
Yeah.
But the rent would not be an AST. It would be a short hold tenancy. It would be a HMO, house of multiple occupation, or a serviced accommodation. In layman's terms, like a emergency housing or like an Airbnb type business. So that's what gives us our cash flow.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of strategies.
Yeah, of course. And I'm a big believer in obviously raising finance, JVs. I've got a lot of JVs myself with the purchasing. How many have you got now, and how are you finding the JV side?
With JVs, you've got to be careful on the people that you're getting into business with, because it's a long-term commitment. It's like a marriage.
Yes.
So you want to really get to know your investor like really well and see what their personality is like. Is it kind of going to match yours?
Yeah.
Are they kind of easygoing? If they're a bit like, scared of everything, that's
Is
probably
it the
not
right match?
Yeah, it's not going to be the right. Because if you have to constantly be answering phone calls,
Yeah.
oh, what's happening here or what's happening there, that could be stressful.
Yeah.
And I think anything in life, you want to make it as stressful, as frictionless
Oh, frictionless.
as possible.
Right.
It's got to be like water. It's got to just flow naturally.
Yeah.
And then it just makes life easier.
Yeah.
So don't jump into JVs willy-nilly. Be careful.
Well, got some experience in that field, haven't I? You saved me from one bad one.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I was right back at the beginning. But as I was saying to you earlier, like loyalty as well, even within our field and stuff. Like I learned business initially through, do you know Peter Jones of Dragon's Den?
Yeah.
So I went to his academy when I was like 19. Okay. And we had multiple guest speakers come in like all the time, once a week at least, over the course of the year. And nigh on every single one of them, and these are massive tycoons within the UK, every single one of them has been screwed over or robbed by a close relative, a family member, a business partner, a friend. So it must get to the point where it's a little bit lonely almost, because you don't really know who you can trust at any given time. Money changes people, and money 100%. Changes the people around you if they think you've got it.
100%.
So
try and work with people who don't come from that kind of background where they're desperate for money.
Yeah.
Don't want to work with people who want to hold on to money too tightly.
Yes.
Because cash flow, it has to flow.
Yeah.
So yeah, just getting the right mix of people around you.
Yeah. But loyalty is a hard commodity to come by.
100%.
And I will 100%. Always remember you for having my back that one time. So you've forgotten about it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You forgot about it, but I'll never forget about it. Like it means a lot, and thank you.
But this, and I say this to Simon all the time. Your reputation is everything.
Yes.
Obviously, you look after the business, look after the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
Put your reputation at the absolute front of everything you do.
Yeah.
Don't worry about money. The money will come.
Yes.
If your reputation is good, your business model is good, the money will come.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you go chasing money and money's at the forefront of your thought, people can smell it.
Oh, yeah.
You'll come across as like desperate. So yeah, just put your reputation first, put your business first. Be good.
Be good.
Yeah, that's
be good.
It's just simple.
Be good.
It's simple things, really.
Be a good human being.
Just be a good person. So your mission is to do a lot of JVs or raise finance for your projects.
Yeah.
How do you find the process
of raising finance? So I find it relatively easy because it's just people buying to people, right?
Yeah.
And I talk to everyone. I talk to everyone, and I think that I try hard to make people feel comfortable. I never ask people for money. Like I put videos out occasionally saying, oh, I need 30 grand over 25 months, 25%
Yeah.
over 12 months. But I don't outright, if I meet someone at a networking event, I don't go, "Oh, I need this amount of money for the whatever." I just say, oh, look, this is what I do. This is what I've already done.
Yeah.
We use investor finance for that. We offer 25%, which is obviously a banging return.
It
And I
is.
kind of leave it there.
Yeah.
Like I don't really say any more than that. And then the amount of people who call me back after meeting me at an event or whatever,
25%, that's a big
it's
hook.
banging. Like it's
That's a
banging.
big hook. I don't think I know anybody who pays that much.
No, I know. And I've had mentors ask me how I'd pull it off. But I do. No, so essentially it's because I get the big juicy commercial deals.
Yeah.
So like, as I say, that Cardiff deal, for instance, it's a multi-million-pound project, right? We're pulling out £177,000 on top of all the initial money coming back out. So I'm borrowing 250,000. I have to give him back, I can't remember the exact figure, but it's about 68 and a half, something like that, off of 177.
Yeah.
So I'm still coming away with over 100 grand profit in my pocket.
This is why commercial to residential or commercial property is just so valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So valuable.
And there's so many good ways to get around planning now, the PD rights and everything.
Yeah.
Like I won't even mess around now. So I looked at a grade 2 listed once. I spoke to a heritage consultant. I did everything I was supposed to do. And as I was talking to the heritage consultant, she was saying, you need this, the refurb's going to cost more because you've got to do this. And I was just thinking, why on earth am I even slightly messing around with this when I can do everything else so much quicker and cheaper without having to mess around with months extra on the planning side? With, there's so many downfalls to doing a grade 2 listed. Also, you can get some banging deals because most investors will do what I'm doing, which is ignoring them. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I can do 3 projects while you're still doing that one because of the excess planning
This is
time.
it. And to create wealth, to make money,
Yes.
it's all about speed.
Speed. You got to get in there. Somebody contacted me, Leo Simpson, contacted me yesterday, right? Bearing in mind we're in Christmas week. He said, look, I need to sell this house quickly. It has to be before the 28th. We need a memorandum of sale, blah, blah, blah. I said, let me make a call. I called this guy, asked him to give me the money. He said yes. I called him back and said yes. And then Leo came back and said that he's going to do it with a JV himself. But the point is, like, I was able to do it quick.
Yeah.
Like, I was just able to make a call. Like, it took me 30 minutes to secure the finance for that deal. Like,
So raising finance, what I found is just through the credibility of my brand within the academy,
yes,
people will approach me and
Absolutely.
say, I want to work with you,
yes,
which is always great.
yes,
So again, going back to what I was saying earlier on, your reputation,
yeah,
put that in front of everything else,
absolutely.
the money will come to you.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the 25% is massive. I have never missed that deadline. If I do, I say I never missed it. I've gone over by a couple of days or whatever, but it's minor, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the investor's never torn up about a couple of days. But yeah, and normally, so I messaged one investor. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pay you back today. Like, I was right at the end of the day. I was like, oh crap, I think it's today. And it was a Saturday. And he said, no, it's Monday. So I wait till the Monday, came to the Monday, and we were like, no, it was Saturday. And I was like, well, I contacted you. I was like, technically I was right. So there's no drama there. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. We're talking about a couple of days, fine. But
So just building on your reputation. If you say you're going to do something, do it.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
make
do
sure it's
it.
done.
Do whatever you got to do to make that happen, because no one will come back to me
Yeah,
otherwise.
exactly. Yeah, don't let people down.
Yeah.
And the more you stick to your word, you build your reputation, you create your brand.
Yeah.
The more people will want to work with you,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
and you don't really have to go looking for investors.
No.
They will come to you.
Yes. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Which is mental, because it's only been a year and a half, whatever.
It's mad.
It is mad. It is mad. Like with when you arrived, I was on the phone with an investor. That was a new investor because I spoke to his daughter.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak to the guy in question, but she went away so positive about me, which is a good thing. And I never want that to seem like I'm bragging. It sounds, do you know what I mean? It's a really weird position to be in, where people say, so like guest speaking, for instance. I went to Northampton, right? did the guest speaking there. 2 people had travelled over 4 hours to come just because they wanted to see me speak.
Oh, wow.
That's mental. That blew my mind a little bit. Like, and I was just like, shit, if people are coming that far for me, then I need to be given some bloody value. Like, I didn't make sure that I'm doing what I should be doing.
Well, you've got one. I was saying this to Samuel at the awards night when you won your award. What was your award for again?
Academy Member of the Year.
Academy Member of the Year. I got it the year before.
Did you?
Academy Member of the Year.
I'm almost certain I know who's going to be next year as well, but go on.
So it's a great award to have, to be recognised for what you're doing in the Academy.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Samuel that night that your story is one of the best stories in the Academy.
Why did you say that?
It's a complete rags to riches
story.
I
suppose, yeah.
And like, I don't think there's anybody like even because I come with a background in property, right? I come with a portfolio of property. So, I mean, you literally started from minus thousands of pounds to now owning...
what are you talking about, mate?
to now owning over, what, 1 million, 2 million? What do you
3.8.
3.8 million.
3.8 million. Oh, sorry. 3.8 million. And I did my net worth in Uganda. So me and one of the other boys there, that he's in BRRs and stuff as well. And we sat there and we were like, let's work it out. Like, I've never actually done it where you add up all you've got, take away your mortgages, and then, because I don't owe anything other than my mortgages, if you know what I mean. My bridges, my mortgages. I don't owe anything else. Because I was in such a bad position when I started, I wasn't allowed credit. I wasn't allowed it. So I haven't got like loads of debt behind me because I wasn't physically allowed to have it. So I have got no additional debts other than a couple of grand on some credit cards, but it's minor. Other than that, I've got nothing. I've got no previous debts. So yeah, I get what you're saying about. I always wondered why it excelled so quickly, but when you say rags to riches, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's one of the best stories on the Academy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and the lorry driver thing. He loves that I was a lorry driver. Yeah. Like, he loves saying I was a lorry driver. I was a bit curious, actually. So with the Academy Award in particular, I was curious as to why I got that particular award. And then when he did his intro for the winner, I was like, this is actually really sweet. Because he was saying that, like, because I'd given back because I went to Uganda twice. And because I'd, was helping people and stuff. Like, I was helping people because it was nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to feed into anything. Do you know what I mean? I do believe karma and what goes on comes around.
100%. I mean, Samuel's inspired me to do some charity work as well. So we sponsor children in India. We pay for their education. So say, for example, that child is 7 years old.
Yeah.
We will then sponsor that child all the way up until they're 18.
Okay.
Pay for all of their education. And then hopefully, by the time they're 18, they're kind of qualified to get a job. They can function in society. They can go away, then get married, have a family.
Yeah.
Really set their life up.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving somebody 10 quid, 50 quid, £100, say, here you go. If you're paying for the education and you're keeping a track of it, because we want to go back every year, see the kids, and we want to grow that academy of children and see them at the end to where they get to. And when they get to 18 and they get a job and they settle down, get a family and everything, hopefully that they will also contribute back
to
the system, to a charity, or sponsor a child.
That's really awesome.
And it doesn't really cost a lot of money to do this.
Well, that's my next question. How much does it cost to provide that for a child for a year, for instance?
So to pay for their education, it's about 500 to 550
a year.
A year.
That's nothing, is it?
Yeah.
On the grand scheme.
On the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. So me and Simon sponsor 3 children. And then I was telling the story to a couple of Academy members, and they were like, oh, that's amazing. Like 550 is nothing.
Nothing.
Can we get involved?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, cool. So then 3-4 Academy members came on board. And then with that money, we sponsored more children. Mm-hmm. And the plan is March 2025 to go to India, go and visit the kids, go and visit the school.
Yeah.
And document it and then maybe talk about it more. Yeah. Hopefully that will bring more people coming on board to do.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Tell the listeners now how they can get involved and how they can participate, because that'd be awesome.
Contact me on Instagram, Billy Kooner 17. Yeah, just drop me a message. As long as you can afford it, it's not just a one-off payment.
Yes.
It's for the
X month.
duration of
Yeah,
their
yeah.
education. So if you can afford to commit £500, £550 every year for the next 10 years, 12 years, yeah, drop me a call.
And we'll put a link below to Billy's profiles and things so that you can get in contact directly. Because I know I'm going to be doing it with you.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
definitely want to come to India and meet some
yeah,
kids
yeah, definitely.
and be part of that.
So that's an amazing part of our journey. And I sent Simon last year because again, this came about because my mom had sponsored a child,
Okay.
so I knew that this
Existed.
existed
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there. So I sent Simon to India last year. She went to the school, saw the teachers, and she posted about it.
Yeah.
And then that led to us sponsoring the first three children. And then yeah, kind of just it's I don't want to say snowballed, but I wanted to snowball into
Yeah.
something bigger, and just build it as to as many children as we can.
Yeah.
Because the academy we're working with in India, I think there's something like 50, 60 schools in that academy. So we can sponsor children in different areas,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's all part of that same network.
Yeah.
So that would be really good.
Well,
Really, really
you and
excited for
Samuel
that.
doing all this charity work has inspired me, but to do my own thing. And obviously, my background prior to lorries for years was animals.
Yes.
So I would absolutely love. I worked rehabilitating primates out in South America, and I did dogs all across Spain. So I would love to set up some sort of initiative or some sort of foundation or something that essentially gives back to animals. Because not everybody that watches this stuff will be into animals, but there's a huge proportion of people that are aware of the atrocities that happen to animals as well as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be interested in
And
looking
I
at that
think
for the future.
it's like definitely do something that you're passionate about.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
So for me and Simon, children was a big thing.
yeah,
And just find what your passion is,
Yeah, yeah.
and pursue it, because I think it's like Joey said in Friends, isn't he? There's no such thing as giving without your own happiness being involved.
yes,
I forget how he worded it.
yeah. It doesn't sound as good there,
There's
but
no such, there's no such thing as a selfless deed,
yes, that makes sense.
right? So yeah, you do things for charity, and you give to good causes, but you do get a
Yeah,
self-satisfaction out of
feeling.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. That's how I felt about Uganda.
yeah,
And when I saw the name on the plaque on the hospital, because we donated the first year,
yeah,
to see it the second year choked me up a little bit.
yeah. You
But
see your name's on one of the
yeah,
bricks.
but it wasn't because my name was on the plaque. It was more because I like everyone there, all the doctors, all the the staff. They were all telling us how much of a huge difference it's going to make to them and the patients and everything and their area.
Yeah.
Because they're now one of the most sophisticated hospitals in that area within Uganda, pretty
Wow.
much, but especially in the West.
So,
So-
did Samuel obviously he raise money, put money towards the building? Did they also raise money for the equipment in the hospital?
No. So what Samuel does, I believe, and Samuel can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe Samuel pays for the infrastructure on the proviso that the government in Uganda will back them up by now by putting the equipment in there.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's like it's
in
we'll do
partnership
this
with-
if you do this.
It's
sort
in
of thing.
partnership with
Yeah, and they've got so much more planned,
that's really good.
like so much more planned. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah. Samuel and Russell are just amazing.
They are. They really are. They're ingenious. And the way they think about things as well, the way they put things together. I love watching their brains work.
Yeah.
like seeing it come together.
This is it. Like, I mean, you could be very successful in property, but there's still so much to learn.
Absolutely.
And you want to be hanging around guys who are just bigger and better than you.
Yes.
Because that's where you're going to learn from.
Yeah.
If you're, it's just you on your own, how far can you go? How much can you be motivated? How much are you going to learn on your own? You need inspirational figures, not just mentors. Look, they're inspirational.
Yeah.
You need them kind of people around you to push you more.
Yeah, because now it just plays back into the 5 people that will surround you the most are the 5 people you're more likely to be like. So if you're I always laugh about that because I'm around a 5-year-old. My mother, because she takes care of her a lot for me. Do you know what I mean? And then my brother. So I want to.
I think you got to count the 5 people outside of your family.
Yeah.
Who's the 5 people outside of the family?
That I spend the most time with. Oh, it's easily got to be. I'd say Chris Cully's up there now, since Uganda. My best friend Emily, she's down in Cornwall, but she works with me now. She works for me. My PA.
Yeah.
But what I do want to do in 2025 is start, because we're in Wales, right? There's not that many. We go to networking. I go to networking events here that are localized and they're good. And there is rich people within that. And I am surrounding myself with those people. But the money's in London, right? So I see people I'm now friends with, Cheyenne, Elijah, they're going to networking events in London. That's a whole different ballgame. I need to start getting down to London at least once a month, I think.
Yeah.
To the same networking event, ideally, so that they're starting to know my face
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm becoming part of the furniture.
That's it. It's just getting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Meet as many people as you can. Go to as many networking events as you can. Be personable. Be likable. Be knowledgeable. So you're
Sharp as a
giving
tack.
knowledge. Yeah. Because you want to be giving knowledge to the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're sharing knowledge in the room, then that's what's going to open doors for people working with you, because they're going to see, well, hold on, she kind of knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She's got social proof.
Yeah.
You can back it up.
Yeah.
And then that's going to lead to people saying, oh, actually, I'll work with you, because
Yeah.
people work with people, don't they?
Absolutely.
It's your personality. Like, not everybody's going to like me.
No.
Not everybody's going to want to.
No, I didn't mean that like that. I was just thinking you were going to say me. Like, I am like Marmite. You either love me or you hate me.
I think most people are like that. Though.
Yeah.
Most people like that. They're like, going back to Samuel, because he's always an easy one to pick on. You either like him or you don't.
Yeah, that's
There's
very
a lot
true.
of people that don't like him.
No, I know.
And there's a lot of people that absolutely love him.
Yeah, worship the grounds he walks on.
Yeah.
And that's us lot. It's
Yeah.
all of his success students, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we're all
The 1%.
the 1% within the academy.
Within the academy.
Yeah.
And that's a big achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Because now the academy, they're setting up
The high flyers.
the High Flyers
Yes.
Club, the 1%, so which me and
The
Narelle are
1%.
part of.
Yes.
And the first meeting, I think, is on
20th of January, I think.
31st, I thought.
It's in January. It's definitely in January.
Yeah, it's in January. And that's going to be with Russell Leeds, and that's going to be absolutely amazing.
Is it?
Yeah,
is
it's gonna be
Russell
amazing.
hosting it?
Yeah. And he's the brains behind commercial
Absolutely.
developments,
Yes.
anything in that field.
Yeah.
And which is what we're both kind of tipping our toes into. Well, you have already got a couple of feet in there.
I'm up to my knees in that crap. No, I love I love commercial. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face, because I think people think they have to start with a buy-to-let or they have to start with a flip well, that's rubbish. I'm living proof that that's rubbish. You don't have to start with anything. You can start with whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need money.
But this is what I say to a lot of academy members. They'll come to me and they're like, I've got a business plan. I'm like, yeah, your business plan is shit. Because your business plan will change depending on who you meet.
Yes.
If you meet a landlord and he's happy to rent SA, that's your new business plan.
Yeah.
If you find a landlord who's offering you who's open to a lease option, that's your new business
On a
plan.
portfolio of properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one meeting can completely change your business plan.
Yeah.
So you just got to have knowledge in all the different strategies.
Exactly, yeah. Because I'm not adverse to anything. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm what I would call an
100,
entrepreneur.
yeah, 100%,
I will take any strategy that comes my way, and I'll adapt it and I'll make it my own.
That's it.
I'm never ever gonna be like, oh, I'm just commercial to residential. No, I've got loads of different properties in different areas.
Different strategies,
SAs, HMOs, commercial, council owned, like council run.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm the social housing person. I want to do everything. Dip my feet in all the pies. Dip my feet in all the pies.
It goes back to what we were saying at the start, having a lot of different plates spinning at the same time.
Yeah.
Because with any strategy, if one strategy suddenly stops working, what are you going to do then?
You've got everything else backing you up. Yeah.
Now, I'll give you an example. So when we were doing the HMOs in the 80s and 90s, student HMOs, Wolverhampton University or somebody built a whole student block.
Yes.
It killed our market overnight.
Yeah.
We had to change strategies from student HMOs to now go and make into a residential HMO.
Yeah. Like professional HMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, there was in 1998 there wasn't a thing called professional HMOs.
Okay.
HMOs were very similar to bedsits. And the kind of people that lived in bedsits, people on the dole, who had
Yes.
no money, they had problems, maybe alcohol problems, drug problems. alcohol problems or drug problems. So they had issues. So they and these are very difficult tenants. There's always problems. There's always
Yeah.
problems with the property. You know, they're not going to maintain the property. 20 years on from that, now you have blue collar HMOs, you've got white collar HMOs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the market's completely changed again. So you've got to be able to adapt with the market.
Yeah, definitely. So one of my properties, I did the portfolio tour. So I do something called my property portfolio tour. I'll have people that are watching my Instagram or whatever. They'll come and stay in my SA. I'll meet and greet them there. They'll have a room each in one of my big essays. I'll have them come and stay in the essay. They'll have a room each, and then the following day they'll bond and network that night together. I'll go away. I'll come back in the morning. Then I'll take them for the day around all my portfolio. We'll stop for lunch, go out for dinner in the evening, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Because then we all get to network. It's really, really good. And I've only done it once so far, and it went so well that people were like, "Can we come next time?" Blah blah blah. So it's already set up now for the weekend of the 11th of January. So we got another full group coming over again. Once we go around the portfolio, I thought that everybody that came was going to be people who aren't in BRRs that wanted to learn BRRs or commercial or whatever it is. Every single person that came was already in BRRs. They just wanted to see how I was doing financing and strategies and bridging and all the other bits of planning. So they just wanted to excel and push forward what they were already doing.
Yeah.
Through learning through me, which is mad.
So they're surrounding themselves with people that they want to learn.
Yeah.
You know, just again being around the right people.
Exactly. And putting yourself in that situation to be there. And I felt like it was quite a creative thing to do. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I suddenly thought to do that.
Yeah.
Initially, I wanted reviews for my essay because it was a brand new essay. That's how it started. And then obviously it was so good. Like I had one of the best weekends ever. And then on the Sunday, on the final day, we came in here and did some podcasts together.
Yeah, wicked.
And then went on.
Sometimes the best ideas are the simplest ones.
Absolutely.
Just get people to stay your essay, and you never know what it's going to lead to. Yeah. It's going to create content for your Instagram. It's going for your YouTube channel. You might get an investor out of it.
Yeah.
Possibilities are endless.
I did get an investor out of that actually.
Cheers. Well done.
I did indeed. In the pub, funnily enough. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many things. I can't believe that investor today. Because he's got more money than what I was asking for initially, right? He was already asking me before we'd even begun. Yeah. Once you get to the end of the year, can you reinvest? And he said, I'm guessing 30 grand's a minimum. And I said, yeah, ideally, yeah. I have taken less previously, but 30 is kind of the minimum. And then he said, so what at that point? And I said, well, generally speaking, we'll say to you, look, we're ready to pay you back. Everything's finished. There's two options now. We can either give you the full amount back and you can go on to put it into whatever you want, or we'll give you your interest back. We'll keep the 30 and we'll go again. And he said, does it have to be 30 or can it be more? And I said, absolutely, it can be more. My childhood dentist has just invested 65k with us.
Wow.
And it honestly, like it's bizarre where money comes from once you start putting yourself out there.
So what do you try to raise the finance first, or do you find the deal first? Because this is a very common question people want to know.
Yeah. I find the deal first, generally speaking. However, I'm in a position right now where I've got a backlog of investors wanting to give me their money or JV with me.
Yeah.
So I've literally got a list, and they all want different things. So I've got a JV that I've got 9 companies at this point, and 4 of those 9 are JV companies. Mm-hmm. But there's one company in particular, one JV there, who I met through. They owned the venue of an inner circle.
Oh right, okay.
I got talking to them by coincidence.
Yeah.
Offered to help them convert their current portfolio into SAs or HMOs to maximise on cash flow.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months later, they told me they rang me, told me that they've sold one of their companies and they want to invest it in me.
Nice.
So they invested 82.5 grand initially. Then we've gone on to JV now, so that we've still got that investment funds, but they've got more money. They've got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So now we're in the process of purchasing one right now.
And this came about just by you being a guest speaker at one of the inner circles, or you just went to?
I was just at an inner circle.
Yeah.
But I just ended up
anybody that doesn't know, inner circle is one of the networking events that Samuel Leeds has, and there's 15, 20 of them.
Yeah.
Up and down the country. So you can find out, what I think you got to be an academy member to
You
go
do
to
have
it.
to be an academy member, yeah.
Yeah, it's not for anyone. You can't just fucking roll up.
Riff raff in there.
Can't just
No, but I
roll up and
believe
say,
they are changing it. So you can bring a
you
plus
can
one.
bring a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still can't roll up to one. You
No,
got,
no, if you're not.
Yeah, you got to be a
But
guest.
you could befriend somebody on the academy
Yeah.
and get bought that way.
Contact us. We'll take it.
We'll get you in. No, yeah. So I meet investors anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
In the dentist chair.
So this is the thing. It's like, so you answered your question, what you said earlier on. You have to go to London to find investors. You don't really.
Not to find investors, to find people bigger than me.
Okay.
I want to be networking with people bigger than me, right? There's no point me networking with people that are. There is, because obviously I can add value to the people that are like below me to a degree. But for me to be surrounded by people who are better than me, and for me to be surrounded by people I want to learn off,
Yeah.
I need to be going somewhere where the money's bigger, such as London.
Yeah. I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm paying peanuts for some of my properties. I'm just making loads of money on the back end of them. Because even if it's not a commercial to residential conversion, I'm buying a property I know I can get a commercial valuation on the back end.
Yeah.
So either way, commercial is in my strategy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which way you look at it. Like,
Yeah. Commercial's definitely the way forward.
yeah,
To get to £1 million plus status. Like very difficult to do with how many flips would you have to do a year?
yes,
How many buy-to-let properties would you have to buy? How many small HMOs? How many SAs? Like, the numbers are too big. Whereas you could do it in one commercial to residential. You could be a property millionaire.
yeah,
Now, there's a guy in the academy, Ronnie, and his wife, Emma. They did one deal.
yes.
He bought a 26-bed HMO.
Big one, wasn't it? I remember seeing that video.
650,000. He paid for that in the auction. Spent, I think it was 250,000 on the refurb. And the revaluation on that was, I think it was either 1.5 or 1.6 million.
One property deal.
One property deal.
It's that easy though.
Yeah.
Like my pub, that's going to be over £600,000 done. Right, that's one deal, and I paid 100 grand, 110 grand.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
So, Narelle. Okay, so Narelle, how do you find these deals?
Good question. I drove past the pub.
I'm full of good questions.
Yeah. I literally drove past the pub. There was a sign. I must have driven past it a million times when I was driving the lorries.
Yeah.
Not taking any notice of it. And then once I joined Samuel Singh, I drove past it again. I was like, oh, that's still for sale. So then I made inquiries. I managed to get the price down about 40 grand off of it straight off the bat because they've been sitting around waiting so long. Realistic. And I got it on a delayed completion, the pub. So actually, I didn't complete on that until October, and I got the planning decision in December. So
nice.
I was a winning. That was a winner.
Yeah.
That was.
How did you set that up? How did you set that deal up? How did you get a delayed completion on it?
I just asked the agent. I was just blunt with that one.
Yeah.
Because I knew they'd been waiting so long.
Because commercial agents work completely different to residential.
Absolutely.
estate
They
agents.
know the different options. They knew what I was talking about before. Do you know what I mean? It was like having a different conversation. I wouldn't ask that to an agent now.
Yeah.
If I wanted a lease option on a residential property and there was an agent involved, I would somehow, because I've got good relationships with the agents, I'd somehow try and get the vendor there and speak about it in front of the agent. So the agent's following along, and then I turn to the agent and go, we'll make sure your commission's paid, you're covered. But if they accept this, then we so that's kind of how I get around that.
So again, it's building a relationship with estate agents to do lease options on residential
Not that I've got any lease
property.
options, but
But it's all about relationships, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of residential estate agents don't understand lease options.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very easy to do that with commercial estate agents. A bit more difficult with residential. And I spoke about this before as well. So you either educate the estate agent or you try and do the meeting in front of the estate agent.
without them, ideally.
But make sure they get paid in the process.
Make sure they get paid, and then everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And then they're more likely inclined to bring you people.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, because once they've done it once, they understand it.
Yeah.
They'll be open to then doing it again.
And I literally I do get calls off of like agents and stuff saying, Narelle, have you seen this one? I'm like, oh no, sorry, I missed the email. He was I'll resend it you now because it's,
That's what you want. You want them calling you up.
Yeah.
It's like with the rent to rents, I have agents calling me up every other day.
Is it?
Got this? Do you want it? Like, yes, no.
Yeah.
I'll look at the area.
Yeah.
If sometimes you don't have time to package and sell the deal, they might say you've got 3 days before we put it on Rightmove, and then within a week it'll be gone.
Yeah.
So I will then quickly do some very basic numbers on it. I'll see if the area works, and then I'll give it away for free to Academy members. Yeah. Do you not know this?
No. Why you can give me anything free, mate?
You haven't-
Who's trying to charge me, ain't you?
I haven't charged you anything.
I'm joking. No.
Yes, Kane, the 16-year-old. Yeah,
You gave him one.
Yeah, I gave him.
That's madness.
Yeah.
That's bad business on your part, mate.
See, because I don't have time to package it and say, "Oh, give me $3,000 for this deal."
Yeah, but even a smaller fee.
They've got to decide there and then.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, I haven't charged them a deal sourcing fee. They can't come back to me and say, "Oh, you sold me a shit deal." Well, I didn't really. I didn't charge any money for it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not. It doesn't come with guarantees of success.
Yeah.
Nothing ever comes with guarantees. But because I'm charged a deal sourcing fee, it's up to them to do their due diligence and see if the deal works for them. But yeah, you don't have 14 days to package and sell a deal.
Not always, no. No.
You got to be fast.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So, like, obviously with Deal Connect now. So, sorry, just going back to your other question about where do I find these deals. So, one of them driving past, I found a deal. I bought a house from walking my dogs. Like, literally, I bumped into this guy twice on the second meeting, on the second coincidence. I said, "Oh, how are you, mate?" And he went, "Oh, I'm having a bloody nightmare selling this house." I was like, "What house? What do you mean?" I was like, "Let's go see it." We literally put the dogs in the van and we're off. We went to see it. And that was that. 95 grand cash, 4-story Victorian.
Wow.
Beautiful property.
What did you do with that property?
It's a big HMO. It's going to be a 7-bed HMO.
Nice.
But it backs onto where they're making a £35 million development for an outdoor pursuit centre with in-house lodges. And so guests can go and stay there, but they're not all going to be able to afford to stay there, right? Okay. It's going to be like an Alton Towers or whatever, but an outdoor pursuits place. Bear Grylls is running a thing out of it.
Now you mention that, actually, very close to me, there's a quarry for sale, and it comes with planning permission to create an outdoor pursuit centre for children.
I love outdoor pursuits. Personally, I used to climb
Guess
and
how much?
Cave and everything.
There's something like, it was acres and acres, fucking huge, £250,000.
Why aren't you buying it then? You're
Which
going to give it to me for free?
Yeah. You can have that for free.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Outdoor pursuit centre. I'd love that, see. That would be something I would diversify into at a later date with.
You could buy it now and then sit on it. And when you got the cash, then develop it.
Yeah, but I'd have to sit on an investor's cash. Do you see what I mean? If I buy it now, I'd be sitting on someone else's money, which I then have to pay back in a year.
It comes with planning permission. Like, you can cut all this out. You don't need to post this. But I think it comes with planning permission for 4 or 5 pods, a larger accommodation block, and there was something else. I'll show you the link in a minute.
Yeah.
See if there's something we can do together on that.
Why, you got the money?
No.
Then no then. I'm not the money man. I make the money.
Yeah.
I don't come with the money.
But it's a
Initially.
huge plot of land. It's a quarry
Yeah, I can imagine.
just outside of Wolverhampton.
Oh, quarry would be a banging zip line.
All that stuff.
Because you'd have all of that.
Planning permission for all that stuff.
Yeah, but can you imagine coming off the top of the quarry?
The only way to do it, Narelle, would be to buy it and then find someone that we can lease it to straight away.
Yeah. So I've got,
like a Bear Grylls.
I've already got someone in mind now. Now I've said zip line. They've got the biggest zip line in Wales in up Snowdonia area. They've also got another one in Aberdare area, which is slightly down the country. So we could pitch it to them because that would be.
Let's have a look at it. Put our heads together and see, because if we can see, because the whole thing with commercial property, right? We're not posting this, are we?
Maybe.
No, don't post.
We'll
this.
see what happens.
No, it's too valuable.
Too valuable. Too valuable for my
So the
viewers.
beauty of commercial property is if we set up a purchase and have somebody who can lease it off us, and we sign all the contracts on the same day, straight away that £250,000 quarry could be worth £1 million.
Yes.
And we haven't spent a penny.
No, we get the commercial valuation.
Get the commercial valuation from day one.
Yeah.
So we could buy it with a bridge or investors finance. And then,
Explain. So just to clarify.
hey, this is not going out.
It is. We would get the commercial valuation on that purely because commercial valuations are based on the rental. So if we leased it on day one, it automatically goes up in value to the value of that rental times 12 times whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's where the added value comes there. It's not a bad idea. Who does the development though? Do we give them a grace period in order for us to pay for the development, or are we just giving them land?
No,
Because they would need
we just give them the land. They would develop it.
Would they though?
Give them a 20-year lease.
I think it'd have to be longer than that.
Or something that needs to be ironed out. Needs to be ironed out.
Because an outdoor pursuit centre ain't going anywhere.
No.
That's the sort of thing that sticks around you.
I think an investor would spend the money on it. Because
absolutely, but you need the right investor where they didn't want the return.
They haven't got to buy it.
No.
Right? So that's one lot of money that they've saved on. We give them X amount of months of grace period to do, they build what they've got to build. And we can cover the payments for 12 months on whatever loan we've got.
Yeah, yeah.
And after 12 months, we can refinance, put all our money back out. They're good to
Handsome.
Handsome, yeah. Handsome or handsome?
And some.
Handsome. Handsome.
Handsome. That's Cornish, that is.
Yeah.
It's a handsome day, isn't it?
So that could be a little... I totally forgot about that until you just mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm all for outdoor... We used to go on outdoor pursuits holidays as kids.
So this is another beauty of talking with like-minded people.
High flyers.
The 1%. Because like I'll have an idea in my brain, and then you mentioned somebody else will mention something, and think, actually, do you know what? I know there's this project in there because I've seen it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Create a JV.
Let's go.
And this 100-acre plot for free.
Well, yeah, it would be free. Yeah, it would be free.
Yeah.
If we do it, you want about me getting an investor?
I have investors as well, you know.
People say that shit to me all the time, though, and I'm like, oh, you want me to raise the money, do you? No, we can definitely talk about that. That's diversifying already. Now we're into outdoor pursuits all of a
Why not?
sudden.
It's all land.
Yeah.
Everything is land. Everything is commercial.
We should definitely look at potentially. So commercial units at the moment aren't being purchased. They're not, because they're not as valuable, offices in particular, but we could buy a unit like the outside of this, and we could do a storage container business or whatever.
Yeah, that's another easy one to do.
Easy one for land.
Yeah.
If we find some land that we can't get planted on right away, stick some containers on there, got a business paying for itself, and then we can get the planning over however long they want to take.
Because they're shooting up everywhere at the moment, aren't they? Storage places.
And they're full. They're all full.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're like struggling for, you know.
And this block here, from the outside, it just looks like, I thought it was like a bunch of small units.
Yeah, yeah.
But they've just knocked them all into one and created them into storage.
Well, so funnily enough, the guys who own this, the owners of this building, they've got, there's like a terrace of units. Like, but they're 3 massive units.
Okay.
They rent them all out. So next door's a garage, and I know the guys who lease that. Obviously, I've got this tiny office in between the storage unit place and the garage.
So how big's the storage place?
It's huge. It goes back really far.
Okay, we're gonna have a walk around.
If you want.
Yeah, cool. Because that's a great cash flowing idea.
Yeah. Well, I used to
because you not only do you want to be creating assets, you need cash flow. Cash flow is super important.
It is. Because
without cash flow, those spinning plates could drop at any minute.
Yes.
So you've got to have some type of backup, whether you've got assets which are unencumbered, which we mentioned earlier on, so that you can use them as leverage, worst case scenario, or you have cash flow that you can cover.
Yeah. I find that everything to do with cash flow, though, is more hands-on.
Yes.
Right? So my strategy has been, because I don't have the cash flow right now, but we've got the unencumbered backup. But it's like another business. It's like an extra business, right?
Yeah.
To have the cash flow side of it. I'm at the point now, we've struggled long enough without the cash flow, personally, that we're now at the point where everything's going to start refinancing, and we'll be getting the cash flow from the rental side of things across the board. So I'm going to have like 3 or 4 big projects paying off in the first 2 quarters of this year. So we're laughing. Yeah. Like we're super laughing. And it means that I never had to do the hard work of a intricate business.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I don't mind hard work, and I'm working like a dog now to do what I do.
But you did do a little bit of it.
You could do, but we've tried the deal zone, it's just not for me.
When you first started out, you did have a couple of
I had about 8 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've downsized them to about 3, and even they're with management now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be hands-on in anything. I want to be the one who finds everything. Like, I can keep growing if I'm not pissing around with other stuff.
100%.
I'm the one who's making that, I'm the one at the forefront of that stuff.
Yeah.
My brother is big time helping me find deals. He's very good at finding deals as well. And he does all the project managements of the site. So the second I finished financing it, doing all the bridging paperwork, like being the marketeer or whatever it is, doing all those things, every time we have a bit of a lull, I'm like, I want to buy something else. I hate being stationary.
Yeah.
Like stagnant. The second I'm done with my bit, I'll just do another one, or do another one, or do another one.
Yeah, this is it. That's the motivation that keeps you going as well. Once you've tasted a bit of success, you want more of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. I like that. I made some money out of that.
I hate doing nothing though.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand when you can ring someone and they're doing nothing. You're like, what do you mean you're doing nothing? I don't understand. Well, you're watching a program. Why? Like over the Christmas period, I
was talking to someone, right, and I said, "What are you doing Sunday?" He goes, "Oh, well, it's Super Sunday. It's like I've got 3 football matches to watch." I'm like, "For fuck's sake!
What are you talking about
3 football matches all day Sunday. You're gonna spend."
Mind blown. Like,
yeah, I was like, "Whoa!"
But that's my point. There is a 1% within the academy, and there's a reason there's a 1% in the academy, because we're wired differently, we think differently, and we act
100%,
differently.
100%.
Success breeds success. If you're going to waste time catching up with your local football team, watching Love Island or some shit, like you're not going to be in the top 1%. You're never going to be in the top 1%. You'll be top 5% at best.
Yeah. I think some people are happy to get, to the top 5%.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's dream is to, have, say, $5,000 a month coming in, replace their job,
and
go
just
and sit
move
on a beach.
Yeah.
And that's good for them.
Yeah.
They're happy with that. Other people, like me and you, for example, wired differently. We want to get to 10 million, 20 million, 30
want it
million,
all,
40
baby.
million, 100 million. Like, there's no end.
There's no end to what I want.
And there shouldn't be an end, because you love the process, you love the job, you love doing what you're doing.
I wouldn't mind semi-retiring.
Would you?
Yeah, but I'd still be, just travelling and that, innit? I just want to be able to just enjoy myself, but know that I'm still spinning 10 plates. That's what I mean. Yeah. I'll still be working. I'll still be doing all the plates.
Me and my wife, we try and get away at least once every 2 months. Even if it's just a weekend break. Just a weekend break. Like, where did we go last? We went to Istanbul. We went to Cappadocia. We did the hot air balloon.
Where's Cappadocia?
Cappadocia, it's a World Heritage Site. It's very famous for these chimney flumes. It's near a volcano.
Where though? What country?
In Turkey.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So it's a National Heritage Site, and it's very famous for the hot air balloons.
Yeah.
So you're in the morning, there's like 500 hot air balloons in the sky. People go there from all over the world for this.
That's mad. I went to Turkey last year.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful place.
I try and do 2 holidays a year, but big-ish ones. So I'll do one with my daughter, which is sort of generally Europe, because I don't want to go on a long flight with a 5-year-old. And then I'll do one big one for myself, like Dominican.
Yeah. I did a couple of big ones last year. I think I went to India for 2 weeks, and I went to Italy for 2 weeks. It becomes too much.
Yeah.
I want to get back to work.
Yes. Yeah. But I wouldn't go for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I got a daughter at home. So my big ones are a week at best.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A week all inclusive.
A week is about a max. I would do.
But I'll still be working there, man. When I went to Turkey last year, my phone didn't stop. Like, it was dying all the time because of charge. Like, it was just, it doesn't stop. Yeah. Holidays don't stop you.
No. You're still working on holidays. Yeah. You're still answering emails and messages.
Yeah. It's the same in Uganda. Yeah. And that's only 5-6 days or whatever it is, but you're still working.
Yeah.
You still got to deal with stuff. Like, make sure everything's still running smooth and stuff. I got robbed while I was in Uganda this year.
How?
By a roofer.
What did you
do? He took £8,400 deposit off me.
Yeah.
He said he'd have it all done and finished by the time I got back. So I was excited to get back on that basis to see it done. He'd just taken the money, and I wasn't all over it like I would be because I was in Uganda.
Yeah.
And I was messaging him every day.
I thought you said your brother was managing the project as well.
Well, that was the one time I got involved, and I'm going to stop doing that now. I wanted it to move quicker.
Right.
It wasn't moving quick enough for me. So I just happened to meet this roofer as well. It was a chance thing. I was going to buy a caravan off him to go caravanning. Like,
Yeah.
it was nothing. But he just mentioned he was a roofer. And I said, oh, we're looking for a roofer. Took him to site, met up with him the next day on site. Did everything that I would normally do. I've run refurbs before successfully. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I can't do it. It's just that with the bigger projects, as I say, I can do more projects if I'm focusing on funding it and getting them
Yeah.
than if I'm on site knocking a wall down myself, which I did do.
100%.
So
You got to focus on what you're good at.
yeah, well, yeah, but I am good at refurbs. I like that. I miss that.
You do.
Yeah, but you are right. Focus on what you're good at and run with it.
And then try and because everything's about systems, and Russell Leeds is big fan of systems, implementing that into business and bringing people in to grow your team.
Yeah,
So like Simon deals with all the day-to-day running of guest relations,
Yeah,
bookings, all that kind of stuff. My job is networking, finding the deals, raising the literally exactly what you do.
yeah,
Mine and your job is pretty much identical.
yeah.
Right, and it's just staying on top of that.
It is what we do is not graft. Like I like going to all these networking events. I went to so many events in December, in particular. I remember sitting my daughter down and saying, "Look, December, I will do as much as I can with you Christmassy." But I knew.
But don't get too excited.
No, but I overdid it then again. So having kids and being an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur, but a tycoon is where I want to be, right?
Yeah.
She's only 5 years old. She hasn't got a sibling to like play with, as it were. She wants me. She wants my attention. So I had to sit her down and say, look, Mummy's going to be away a lot this month because there's a lot of events. And she said, you're going to make money, Mummy? And I said, yeah, probably. I said, we don't go there with that intention, but we hope. And every time I do, like most of the time I come away with something. But she understands it when I talk to her properly. But also, what I was doing to compensate for that was every time I was around, I was taking her to like a Christmas winter wonderland or a light show. Or we met Sancho about 4 times this month. Honest to God, he looked different every time. We saw him in some caves. But then she became expectant. So the stuff like the caves and the Santa and all that stuff, she became, what's the word? Well, expectant. She thought that it was a given. So I could tell by the end of the month, I was like, actually, your behaviour's slipping a bit now because you're expecting this stuff.
Yeah.
And she knows I was feeling guilty for not being around that much. So she was using that to her advantage with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's a clever old cookie, my 5-year-old.
Like the thing with kids, I mean, when my 2 eldest, when they were born, me and my first wife, we were constantly working. We had 3 shops.
Yeah.
We were working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
My 2 eldest were raised by the grandparents.
Yes. That's basically what's happening with mine.
The nan, and so my parents and my ex-wife's mom. So they, we hardly saw the kids. We never had that. So we would take them out once in a blue moon, take them to a restaurant, or what, restaurant, I mean Mackey's or something. Go and watch
That's not a restaurant.
It is.
I've just told my daughter she's not allowed McDonald's ever again. Honestly.
Why?
Because it's so bad for you, innit? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many chemicals in in everything, the chips in particular.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. But she took it like a champ. She said, "Mummy, I believe you." Like, and I was like, "Good girl." But she loves McDonald's. Like,
I think spoiling kids is very overrated.
no, I didn't deliberately spoil her. I was
No,
trying
not
to.
you. I'm just saying my opinion on spoiling kids. I think it's very overrated.
Yeah, I felt really bad though. It was more a guilt thing on my part.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was like, oh, actually, you know that I feel guilty, therefore you're playing on this now. Do you know what I mean?
So my kids never went without anything. They still had love from the grandparents and stuff, and then we would take them out once in a blue moon.
Because I'm a single mum,
nice
right?
clothes.
So like I'm trying to go to the gym and stuff. I can't get up earlier to go to the gym, right? Because I can't leave her at home alone. She's 5.
Yeah.
So I'm like constantly that is my biggest. People say, what's your biggest challenge at the moment? It's being a parent and how to do it right.
Yeah.
Whilst being an entrepreneur, a single entrepreneur,
All right.
a single mum thing. The mums are they're the emotional role. I'm not an emotional person. I cry at stuff, but
You got your mom.
yes,
You could look at boarding schools.
no, because that negates everything I just said about being a present parent and like.
You could look at adoption.
Oh, you're a douche.
If she's getting in the way of success,
She's not getting in the way. I'm just saying it's difficult as a single parent to be as successful as I am. Thank you very much. And be a good parent. And I think I'm pulling it off.
I am only joking, all right?
Yeah, he is.
But there are some very good adoption agencies out there. We'll leave a link below.
There's a couple of companies in India he knows. Well, you can sponsor them from afar.
It's much cheaper over there.
Yeah, I bet, yeah. And they're better at maths.
Do you know how many people go from England or let's even say the Western countries go back to India to do their like medical degrees and stuff like that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's so cheap out there to do all that kind of stuff.
But saying that, in the UK, we don't pay for it. We get loans, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
it's massive loans, though, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So my degree, realistically, as long as I don't, because you pay it back when you start earning a certain amount, right? I don't think technically on paper I'll ever end up paying that back. No. Really?
I mean, I only take out of the company enough money to cover my expenses.
Yeah.
And a bit of spending money. It's probably about, I think about £1,600 or £1,700 a month.
Right.
Yeah, hardly anything.
So I'm going to say something now that we might have to cut out. But realistically speaking, my expenses, other than my bills and my main priority bills, right, which I do need to withdraw to pay, other than that, most of my expenses go on the company anyway. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm traveling, so that then becomes food for the whatever. Do you know what I mean? All the meals out and stuff, that's all because I'm going somewhere to do something business related.
Well, that's all legitimate expenses.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So in terms of like spending money, other than an outright holiday, I went to Portugal last year to look at land. It's a business expense.
That's a business expense.
I know.
Yeah. Flights and accommodation.
That's mental though to think.
So, like if you went to Portugal, right, and you said, I'm going to look at some land. If you then booked into a 5-star all-inclusive for a week, then HMRC is going to say, well, hold on.
Yeah, but realistically speaking, the rich people won't stay in any less than 5 stars, so that is still a business expense.
But then the deals they're doing is comparable
to
what they're staying in their lifestyle.
I was staying
let's say me and you, for example, right? Yeah. If I went to Spain to go and see some land, right? I'd probably stay like in an Airbnb. I'd get a really nice 2-bedroom Airbnb.
Yeah.
Stay there for 3 nights, do my viewings, come back.
That's exactly what I did. It was 3 nights, 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah. So, but if you went like, 5-star, all inclusive, 1 week, that's too much.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna
Plus,
ask
I've got video
there.
evidence of me seeing the land, so that helps.
Yeah, you got your email traces and document what you've done, and you incorporate that into your little getaway. Yeah, it's a business expense.
I literally, because Willow had to come with me because my mum wasn't available to have her.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, it's not a long holiday, come with me. I said to her, we're going to be doing like a land tour the first day. I said, it's going to be boring, right? For you anyway, right? I'm going to love it. But you're going to hate the first day. I said, if you're good and you don't embarrass me on that first day, the second day I'll take you to a water park.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a business expense.
I'm pretty sure when I was helping my dad out at the age of 10, I don't think I had a choice.
No.
It was like, mate,
different cultures.
put your shoes on.
Yeah. Get in the car.
Yeah.
But my daughter comes on all the viewings and everything. I've forced her to do that since she was like 2.
Yeah. So again, putting her in the right environment.
Yeah.
Growing up, watching you do what you're doing. 99% she'll come into the family business and
she's already making videos.
Yeah.
So somebody said to me, with regards to social media, what's a BRR? And she said, is that where you flip properties? And I said, no, it's the exact opposite.
I saw this.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said, well, you need to start talking and stop using anagrams sort of thing. Start talking as if people don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I assume everyone's on the academy, right?
Yeah.
So I can say that stuff. So I was like, who better to explain something that somebody else didn't understand than a 5-year-old?
Yeah, perfect.
Did you hear how she explained a lease option?
Yeah.
But it was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, bang
it
on.
was the most basic version of a lease option, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
She said you buy a property, save the money, and you've got the option to buy it at the end.
Yeah.
And when you say save the money, people have said to me, what do you mean save the money? Save the rental income.
Save the rental
that
income.
That becomes a deposit to buy it when you exercise your option.
And the rental income you're using is got to be a super rent.
Yeah.
So it's not going to work with a buy-to-let AST tenancy, right? It's not going to work with a short hold tenancy. It's got to be a HMO, or it's got to be serviced accommodation where you're making much bigger cash flow per month. Then you save that in a separate pot. At the end of your 5 years or 7 years, use that as a deposit.
Yeah.
Right, it's quite simple. But yeah, if you can get a 5-year-old to explain it.
Oh yeah, exactly. I just thought I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so brilliant because of the way she said it as well. And just to check she knew it. I said to her the other day, and it's been a couple of weeks now, said, what was the lease option again? And she said it again. I was like, good girl. Yeah. You got it.
I've seen Frank Cardone do this with his daughters.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, explain this. How do you buy this block of 44 apartments?
Is it? How old are they?
That's a really good way of marketing your product.
Yeah, yeah.
So you should do that a lot more with your daughter.
Yeah. I've had a lot of parents contact me saying this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like a lot of parents saying, like, I'm so, it's good to see you doing it with her. And
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
She's part of the journey.
Yeah, she is. She always has been, though. She's always had to do all the viewings with me. And Billy, it's been an absolute pleasure having you as always.
It's been great. Yeah, it's a lovely drive down.
Yeah.
To Cardiff.
Cardiff. I wish I was Cardiff. We're Bridgend here, babe.
Well, are you? Is this not Cardiff?
No.
Is the posh end of Cardiff?
No, on the back ass end of Cardiff. Bit further, I'm in a banging location actually. We're bang in the middle of Cardiff and Swansea on the M4.
Nice.
So it's 25 minutes either way, and you're in both cities. So landed really. But yeah, as I say, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you making the drive.
No. Loved it. It's been really good.
And we'll get you back in maybe a year, see what commercials you've done.
Yes. I'm sure we'll meet before then.
We will.
Yeah, 100%.
Personally. We might be buying an outdoor pursuit centre now in a quarry.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, thank you very much, mate.
Brilliant.
See you soon.
Thank you.